Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Militants threaten oil installations over Rivers state crisis. The Niger Delta Rescue Movement has issued a threat to attack oil installations in the Niger Delta region due to the withheld allocation meant for Rivers State. The group, which recently appeared in a viral video with armed militants, called for non-indigents to leave Rivers State as tensions rise. They accused the state's lawmakers of attempting to create instability, which could lead to a state of emergency. The group expressed concerns over the recent actions of the state lawmakers, particularly the 48-hour ultimatum to Governor Siminalayi Fubara, who present the 2025 state budget. They see this as a move to destabilize the state and urge President Bola Tinubu to intervene to prevent further crisis. The militants warn that if the federal allocation due to Rivers State is not released, they will take action, including disrupting oil production. The group also emphasized the importance of ensuring the safety of all residents in the state. While calling for a peaceful resolution, they insisted on the need for respect and development in the region. The Supreme Court recently upheld a decision that blocked the state's federal allocation, and tensions remain high following the lawmakers' expired ultimatum to the governor. Joining us this morning is Emmanuel Ikule, Executive Director, Elixir Trust Foundation, to discuss this. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
All right. So can you just help us with a brief overview of what the current state is in Rivers State right now?
A country like ours, we believe that at times like this, we should be actually going forward in trying to make ends meet and fulfill the primary mandate of the government to the people, which is security of lives and property. But it has so happened that when most persons enter into the public seat, it generally becomes when power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So many persons are already thinking about 2027 instead of thinking about the work they should do or put in to add value to the lives that they went there to serve. Right. So the case of Rivers State have been, Rivers State, based on the population they have, a lot of persons in the federal try to see how they can take charge of such places, because getting votes from those locations is more than maybe 2 states in other areas. So getting and being in charge and in control of be it the resources, be it in control of the votes, they see to it that automatically they have a particular percentage already in current leadership for 2027. So that is what they have been looking at. And in ensuring that this is possible, currently we're having about, I think, 24 persons trying to defect from PDP down to APC. So it's all these schemings are just about leadership, how to get access to control, how to ensure the governor, as long as it's not trying to do what they want, to ensure the place is not governable. This is just the blunt truth. So it's not that the whole thing they are doing in the state is just for them. The issues that they are pointing out, which is more of that the states have not carried out elections, proper elections, and all that for the local government chairman. It's similar across all states. It's not just there. Yeah. In Benue State recently, it's also the same issue where the chief judge is trying to even move hearing to another location because they won't currently order to prevent people from even protesting and several other things. So it's not resources, access to numbers for 2027.
Well, so right now, of course, the federal allocation was being withheld. What are the main reasons why, it was being withheld from Rivers State? And because now, obviously, these militants are already threatening to, destabilize all of the power, all of the pipelines, the installations, and whatnot.
The reason it's more of, as I said earlier, Fabura, the former governor, Wiki, they have been having issues, and issues have been who will be in charge of the states. So the former, he felt that because he left and to him, he has created a structure that works for everybody, The new governor should work. Sure, this is still the same godfatherism that we have been talking about in the past.
Yeah.
And the new governor is looking at serving the people, or to at least to him, is looking at serving the people and not serving a godfather or a former governor. And the crisis between two of them has led to some of these issues we're having, because consistently there were different factions protesting against the current governor, others protesting for. And it has led to also the House also being in division, because a lot of those persons are more of pro-Wike. That is why you're having about the speaker and about 24 persons trying to defect. And the federal might is now trying to take advantage of those little gimmicks and start saying that they have not done this properly, they have not done that properly. Let's not forget that even the judiciary and persons, even going to those seats, a lot of this revolves around the executive. Unfortunately, the three arms of government are not working as it should work.
Right.
So one arm is content to be in charge of all the other arms and controlling, as long as they are in control of the resources going to these different arms of government.
Interesting. So now that they're already threatening to, shut down the oil installations, what are the consequences to this? What are things that, we might just see if these threats comes, true?
The federal government on its own, I always say that the National Assemblies and the state assemblies are doing a very bad job. Because most times we enter this seat, they are thinking just about what they can get and how they can remain in seat. If they are thinking about the rule of law, what works, and equally thinking about what is best for its citizens, a lot of these things won't be happening. Because when former or current governors are trying to do things not in line or not for the good of the people, instantly they'll be working towards recall and impeachment and all those things.
Yeah.
To ensure that everybody thinks about what is good for the state. But currently, that is not the situation. And the federal government, just like I said, they cannot claim to be not guilty or having a hand in all of this. So for me, it's the federal government should try not to influence things or not try to make things worse for the state. They should step out and allow them have their allocation as expected. If there are certain issues around party lines, they should try to fix it in their parties.
So would you say that this is politically motivated?
Yes. Everything happening is politically motivated. But who will suffer from all these issues? It's the people.
Right.
So good that the people are coming up, and when especially people are coming out talking, you have sent persons to represent you in the House of Assemblies, they are not doing that work. You are trying to activate Section 39, which is freedom of expression and talking, and you are not seeing it. Persons may start looking for alternate means to ensure that you comply and think about them. Because how can the states be feeding the whole country and then you are not giving them the allocation? It doesn't sit well. No matter how we're not getting allocation. It's not right.
Yeah. So now they've obviously called
the federal government to sit up and departments.
So they've called on the federal government, just like you were saying, to intervene in this. How do you think the federal government can respond to ensure that, there's peace in the land and everybody's happy?
The first thing is, this issue of Wike and Fubara have extended for a long period of time.
Yeah, it's over a year.
The father of number one person in the country, the president first should sit up and try to call them, even though he's thinking about 2027 and Wike worked for him. That doesn't matter in this case. If really he's thinking and wish for Nigeria to move forward, he should call two of them aside and try to rectify this thing. That is one. Secondly, the allocation due to River State should be released. It's very important, because if you are not releasing it indirectly, you are saying the federal is preventing. It's no longer Wike, it's the federal. And as long as the people are looking at, okay, it's the federal that is preventing us from getting our allocations and getting our salaries and what is due to us, it means indirectly they also try to work against whatever federal activities are going on in the state, and that is the crisis.
Yeah.
Nobody at this time wants to think about. If at the end of the day things out, they'll crumble already. there will be no production again. And we know what that revenue will do to the whole country. Yeah. So the government or the president, our president Tinubu, should wake up to his role, a fatherly role as a president and number one person in the country, and fix this issue, this crisis issue. So what is really the self-governor has been crying left, right, center to ensure that things work. Yeah. We are only looking and ensuring and thinking and hopeful that the president will wake up, and the Senate too will not just allow, because they dominantly belong to one party, allow everything to just go under the bus for no reason. And another thing is, if certain persons, this issue of decamping, that you just join a particular party and because of selfish reasons you are decamping from one location to the other, laws should be made to limit such issues happening and distorting the democracy that we have in our country. If you are not competent and you don't want to remain in a particular party, yes, we have freedom of association, but at the manner at which they are doing it, how can you just have 24 persons defecting like that? There should be clear-cut reasons why you are moving in. If there are no reasons, such persons should even be replaced by persons that came second from such elections, so that we stop these issues of trying to pay more respect and be allegiance to political parties instead of allegiance to the country. We are suffering a lot because of this in all states, so that these unnecessary defections for political reasons will also stop.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I want to believe that the Constitution has several provisions, for things like this, because if you defect from your party, that means that seat has to be vacant. So what do you think that they're doing to this to ensure that the rule of law stays supreme?
The leadership, or should I say the government, is not thinking about that. That is why there is political party autonomy to an extent. And there are no checks. That means most of what they decide what they do. That is why even the amounts to pay for to get to form for certain positions, despite the limitations of the amounts of money they can spend during elections and all that, it's not being put into consideration. What are the laws put in check to ensure that if you do this, certain punishment to come? INEC is more, the leadership of INEC is being appointed by the current ruling party. 3/4 of the appointees, the commission, the ministers, and everybody is still done by one man. Indirectly, it means the checks are limited because all these persons belong to the same party. So it's now more about the parties deciding what happens and what is good for the party, no longer what is good for the state. And this is very, very bad, because that is why we are finding ourselves in this current situation.
Okay, so if we look at the history of the Niger Delta, I mean, we've seen past conflicts like this. For instance, in Delta State, in Warri, we've seen things like this. You always hear of militants, you hear of cases, right? How do we resolve this to ensure that, it doesn't go out of hand? And how can we also ensure that this allocation is addressed, permanently? Because if that's a big issue, then it should be addressed permanently. What do we do right now as we wrap up? Hello, Emmanuel. Hello, Emmanuel. I think we just lost Emmanuel's audio there, but we're just talking about the fact that militants have threatened, oil installations in the Niger Delta amid Rivers State crisis. So, of course, Rivers has ruckus between Similaye Fubara and the former governor of the state, who is now the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. And there's just been ridiculous things happening, one of which is the fact that their allocation has been suspended. But okay, I think we have him back. Emmanuel, I was just asking that, we've seen Delta, we've seen the Niger Delta as a whole, let me put it that way. We've seen past history whereby there's been conflicts like this. How do we ensure that this doesn't go out of hand, and the federal allocation that seems to be the bone of contention here, how can we resolve it permanently?
This crisis that we're currently experiencing may even go worse, because all the former persons that let me say at different times, political leadership has been using or communicating in different times during crisis situations like this, have also come out at different times to voice out their displeasure with the happenings in the states. So it means if the federal government does not rise to the occasion now to fix these things, it will be maybe the worst of the scenarios now. Because if you look at the hands of the current person in leadership, almost everything has the policies being done are not for the good of the people. Increase in taxations, increase in things, and let's not forget that these states consistently at different times, a lot of persons have come out to complain that they are not being taken care of, despite them actually providing or being the source of revenue for the whole country. And then you decide on your own, because this person is not working for your own good, you freeze the accounts or the monies or the allocations going to such places. And in order to address this, is just for the president to do the needful. Stop thinking just about parties. Stop thinking just about the 2027 elections. Think about what is good for the people. You came through the channel of party, yes, but you are not there as the president of a party. You are there as the president of the whole country. And their lives should matter. Their aspirations of being better should matter. And it's more of calling of also the stakeholders within such locations, those zones too, to come together and look at the situations, what can be fixed. Outside the presidency coming in, let's also look at their members or those representing those zones in the houses of national houses of assembly, House of Senate, House of Rep, trying to also speak out in addressing this concerns. Let's reduce this issue of party, because it's killing the country. And if this can be rectified at those points and those persons speaking out also on these issues, it will calm nerves. And the first thing the federal government I suggest they should do is first release their allocations to the state. Right. There are many states that cannot show for what they did for 8 years in the last administration and monies were going. And currently, if there's a case of embezzlement and all those things, laws have not even said that freeze this account. And if they are out of 36 states, including FCT, allocations are released, why are you holding just one state? It means there's something wrong somewhere. Yeah. And the federal government has to play its role of fixing things, uniting the country and fixing things. If they don't, I believe they'll proceed with the next step, which is not something that we want.
At the end of the day, what we want is peace, ensure that these people have, their allocation. If we need to know anything, if there's any information that needs to be out there, it needs to be. Let's know what's going on. And, Rivers has actually dealt with a lot in recent times. Over a year, we've had these workers between, the former governor and the current governor, and things just seem to be going haywire every single day. But I hope that, they can come together, ensure that whatever they're doing is for the benefit of Rivers State and the Niger Delta at large, and of course the whole of Nigeria. Emmanuel, I want to say thank you so much for coming. It was a pleasure having you on the program this morning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, and I keep up with the good work.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
We've been speaking with Emmanuel Ikule, Executive Director, Elixir Trust Foundation, and we've just been looking at the fact that militants have threatened, oil installation over the crisis in Rivers State right now. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll be celebrating International Women's Day and the theme, Accelerate Action. Please stay with us.